Hello. So, I'm not gonna lie, this video is a little bit selfish. I had to go to a bridal shower today for my dear friend, and I have to admit, I'm looking good. I'm looking good today. I'm feeling myself. I don't get to dress up too often, given my line of work, and it's a shame, really. So I was like, I should do something. Oh, I know what I can do. I can film a video, but about what? And I was thinking about it and thinking about it, and then I realized, you know what? I can make a quick video with regards to this dude. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know if he can show up because the camera is having a bit of a problem when you got a really pale person on a bright screen and a darker than him person in front of the camera. The lighting ain't lighting, okay? But you may be wondering, Kyla, why do you have Elvis on your background? Well, that's because a subject of one video that I want to do probably sometime this year, depending on how much the research goes, is going to be on him. So I got an idea for a video after watching two things. One, a video essay done by this guy, where he watched every single Elvis Presley movie. During that watch, he dove into each movie, its production history, as well as the context as to what Elvis was doing at the time, and it seemed like a very interesting subject because while I was not around for that, my mother was, and I've heard her talk about those movies a couple of times, mainly because she was younger when they came out. She was born in 55, and nobody really understood what he was going through at the time, even back then. And then the second thing that I saw was Baz Luhrmann's Elvis biopic. Funny enough, my mom and I were gathered around at Christmas and we were going to watch Minority Report, but Minority Report is not nowhere to be found. So we decided, what's on Netflix right now? And people were watching Elvis at the time. And I like Baz Luhrmann. I love Moulin Rouge and The Great Gatsby, so I decided to watch it. And I figured that it was a pretty decent biopic, but also that I'm basing this off of the fact that I don't know jack about Elvis. And then it hit me. Could I watch every Elvis biopic and understand something about the man? Because he's like one of the biggest celebrities even today. He died over 50 years ago and we're still trying to figure him out. So, are the biopics actually reliable? Could they actually parse who this man was in a limited amount of time? And that's what I want to figure out. But in order to do that, I've also had to do a lot of research. When I tell y'all I am in the thick of it, I am in the thick of it, okay? Like, I have bought so many Elvis books, not including the ones on audiobook, and I even got some from the library. And would you believe it or not, when I went to go look for zines one day at my local Quimby's in Chicago, right in the back near the old vintage stuff, I saw this just hanging out. But I figured, if I want to do this and I want to show off how good I look, and I want to make a video, and I want to do it on something light, what could it be on? And well, in my research, I came across a book on the Internet Archive. It's called The World According to Elvis, and it's compiled by Jeff Rosen. So the thing is that this guy decided to compile different quotes that he got from different people who knew Elvis. And I use air quotes because I can't verify this. I can't ask this man if he said it or not. He's dead. But once again, this is also an interesting subject of where, did he actually say this? Did he not? Some of these, I think yes. I will say the first time I read this, I was like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way he said this. One, because it's too funny. And two, because it's too funny. Even though I didn't really find anything useful to my research, as I was sitting here thinking of what to film, I went back to that book and thought, you know what? What if I told you all some of my favorite quotes from this book? So I want you to sit back, relax, maybe get a notepad as we listen to some words of advice from one Mr. Elvis Presley. I have 27 bookmarks in here, so it's going to be interesting, right? On the American Dream. Ain't nowhere else in the world where you can go from driving a truck to driving a Cadillac overnight. Nowhere. Back when we had ambition and good unions. Now, you'll be lucky if they don't kick you out of the hospital because you don't have health insurance. The American dream. On baseball, I like playing softball, but watching baseball, man, I don't want to knock the national pastime, but sometimes a lot of nothing happens. Okay, I'm glad I can't stand baseball. I went to a baseball game once in my life when I was younger. It was the most boring thing I have ever sat through. And I've sat through golf games. Okay, baseball is so boring. God, he's right on the money with that one. I can't fucking do it.
What are you laughing at, man? This is my first guitar. I was little.
Oh, now this is cute. On beauty. The most beautiful thing in the world to me is a baby looking as pretty as her mama. Oh, because I'm pretty sure he was talking about Lisa Marie. God rest her soul. Oh. On the death penalty. I don't know if it ever stopped anyone from killing, but it stops them from killing again. I can't argue with it. On comic books. Only snobs who never looked at one think they're bad. They do a lot for your imagination. And Mad makes me laugh. You know what? Mad makes a lot of people laugh. But I do agree, comic books are amazing. Once you start digging into the history of them, oh, it's fascinating. In fact, I got another book that I took out of the library recently that after I get through a couple other things I want to read. And it's about the history of American comics. I actually did my art senior paper on the propaganda in comics and actually used old school Wonder Woman comics as my basis. I was going to do Wonder Woman and Captain America, but I was going over the 10-page limit of my essay. Maybe one day I'll make another one, because that was really fun. I love writing about comic books. They're really fun.
I think you've outlasted every other entertainer from the 50s and, for that matter, the 60s as well.
I take vitamin E.
On death. Death is the hardest thing for anyone to accept, but you've got to. Otherwise, you'll live in fear of it. It's going to find you regardless of how good you are. When it's your time, the Lord's going to take you. You know, that reminds me of a song that's kind of going around on TikTok right now, which I can't really say because I think YouTube will, this video isn't monetized anyway, but I think it might take it down. But, you know, you're right. But, I mean, he's right. Death is the ultimate equalizer. We all go in the box at the end. And this says on Elvis in 1969. My name's got evils and lives. It's probably better not to wonder too much about it. That sounds like a shower thought. Y'all, this is a editing Kyla, so I had the idea of like, oh, I'll put like little funny clips of Elvis in between each one, you know, that'd be fun. And as I was looking through, I found this clip, and y'all, I am stunned. Y'all gotta watch this in its entirety. I can't believe it.
Girl I was with last night. Good dog. Oh man. She gave great head.
What did he say?
Hey Joe, I did check last night. Gave greatest head.
I do want to quickly just say kudos to this legend. I mean, like, I don't know if she ever knew this. I don't even know if she knows that he was talking about her. But hey, girl, game recognized game. All right, we gonna give you kudos. Okay, you had that guac, you put it on him, and you know, hey, no one can say, hey, no one can say that. Oh God. Can I say this without getting flagged? On the spicy stuff, if you get my drift. Any man who says he ain't interested is a liar. Any woman who says that, She's probably lying too. On protection, not that kind. I have no need for bodyguards, but I have very specific uses for 2 highly trained certified public accountants. I could use me an accountant too. It's tax season.
Y'all listen to me, I'm good.
Once again, on him, introducing his song Are You Lonesome Tonight in 1977. I am, and I was. It's one of them what it says on the tin things, I guess.
Because I love too much. Where you going? Don't you know?
On Girlfriends. I learned young that having a girlfriend was about the most expensive thing there is, besides having a wife. If you do it right, yes. On The Ideal Girl. Female, sir. Said, do you like women? Yes. What kind of women? Yes. Do you have a type? Yeah. What type? Women. I mean, have you seen women? I mean, men. But women? On gospel music. Gospel music is the purest thing there is on this earth. Now, I think he's talking about like old school gospel music, but I have to agree, I like gospel music. I grew up, in the 90s, mainly when Kirk Franklin was hitting it big. And baby, Kirk Franklin, Kurt Carr singers, Yolanda Adams, oh my gosh, I could sing, even though I'm not that religious anymore, I can sing some of these things like right now. Oh. And you can actually hear like a lot of gospel influence in his music. Like I said, I didn't really listen to him beforehand, but that blues especially, like his early stuff, I wouldn't have even classified as rock and roll. I would have just called it blues music. But I feel him on that. And I encourage people to look into gospel music too, even if you're not that religious. A lot of it's just catchy, On Image. The image is one thing and the human being is another. It's very hard to live up to an image. And I think that's one of the core reasons about why I started looking into him, is because a lot of our large figures in pop culture are pretty much an image at this point. And we don't really know who they were as a person, either because, well, we just didn't know them, or two, they were before our time. And I think that that's what I'm trying to parse out with him, especially because he was so overexposed posthumously. But I will say, doing this does have me wondering about different celebrities, especially since while I was researching and doing all this, that Bob Marley movie came out, and boy, all right, I'm not even Jamaican, and I'm seeing all the videos and all the conversations, okay? But it does just make me wonder, have we completely replaced the human with the image, or can we still figure out who the human being was behind the image itself? So, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Interesting that he has a quote about that.
Lord have mercy.
On male sex appeal, girls go for a guy who is sullen, brooding, something of a menace. Now I know that most of you, including myself, feel called out by that. So touche, touche. On devotion, girl fans would throw their handkerchiefs at me and I'd blow my nose on them and toss them right back, and them ladies would hang their hankies to their breasts and never wash them. That's devotion. That's also nasty. Okay, maybe it's just because, we're in the post-COVID society and we spent the better part of a year and a half locked up in our houses because of airborne disgustingness. But uh late oh girl but also in my research, which I don't think I didn't know this because I didn't know anything about this man before I started looking into him. In concert footage of him out in Vegas, did you know this man was just like I guess his fans were just coming up to him to get like kisses, and he was just not like a kiss on the cheek or nothing like that. No, he was full on open mouth kissing these women. Which I mean, if that's what you want, fine. But in my post pandemic mind, I'm just ah, ah, ah. I think that it might just be my post COVID mind, but it's just kind of like it's wild watching that footage, man. Just full on like kissing, just ah.
Toreador, Toreador.
On movies. Only thing worse than watching a bad movie is being in one. You know, it hits harder once. So if you go watch that video that I told you about where the guy watched all the Elvis movies, um, and you learn the history and like also how the critics responded to a lot of them films. This is like a just a cell phone, you know, just mm.
Oh.
Oh, we finally reached reincarnation. I don't believe that death is the end. Reincarnation's got to be real. It explains a lot about why people are the way they are. I read this and I kind of thought back to so if you're around like a lot of old heads, especially in black families like mine, um, you'll often see like when a baby does something that maybe a baby normally doesn't do, especially when they're fresh, like they're brand new, still got the tag on them. They'll say, that baby done been here before. That baby done been here before. That's what I equate this quote with. Somebody probably looked at Lisa Marie one day and said, this baby has been here before. Just something about the way that babies interact with things that we think they're doing weird or like they know it and they shouldn't know it. So we just assume like, oh, see, this is somebody coming back. This is somebody coming back and realizing what's going on. It's always fascinating to me. And now that I think about it, I don't know if maybe that's just a black thing or if it's a southern thing. Because most of my family is from the South. Um, More so southern Illinois, but when you go to southern Illinois, you'll find out just how close, like, related it is to the South.
Oh. How many hours do you want?
On religion. Religion is like music. You experience them and they both move you. He was a very spiritual person, as I found out in my research. Like, the man did not hold himself just to Christianity. He was like looking everywhere, okay, everywhere. In fact, this guy me. So Elvis wore both a cross and a Star of David, and when asked why, he said, "I don't want to miss out on heaven because of a technicality."
Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh.
On retirement, as long as you're pleasing people, no matter what you're doing, it's foolish to quit. Okay, I want to rest. All right? I'm taking my break. I'm taking my social security. Now, if I'm doing something entertaining like you were, then maybe not. But I'm out here doing my back breaking labor. No, I'm taking my retirement. Thank you.
Oh. You should have one in there, man.
On sensitivity. Most men don't seem to understand that being soft with somebody ain't the same thing as being weak. Now, I'm looking at you, podcast bros. Let me read this again, okay? Most men don't seem to understand that being soft with somebody ain't the same thing as being weak. Now, how is it that this man, I don't know when he said this, but it had to be between 1950 something and 1977. How is it that this man said this, but you in 2024 can't get that through your thick skull? Okay, that's a shit. Like, y'all need this imprinted behind your eyelids so you see it every damn day. Like, my God.
Principle has nothing to do with it. It's talent that talks.
On showmanship. If I just stood up there and sang and never moved, people would say I could stay home and listen to his records. You have to give them a show, something to talk about. Now, this very much applies in this day and age, because I don't know if you guys remember, but not that long ago, people were showing like clips of Ice Spice at an iHeartRadio concert, I think, and it was like, yes, girl, give us nothing, give us absolutely nothing, yes, like, girl, what? But a lot of performers nowadays think that they don't have to do anything to like excite the crowd or do something. But the thing is that at that point, I can just sit at home, not have to deal with a bunch of people who don't know how to act at a concert setting anyway, and listen to your music on Spotify. Like, I could go listen to this on YouTube. Why am I here? That's why, like, when I go to shows like with Sleep Token or with Ghost, I actually get a performance. Like, there's some showmanship there. On Sleep, and this is from a quote from 1959. It's not like food, which gives you pleasure. It's kind of creepy, like death, if you think about it. Well, I find pleasure in sleep because it is like death. Oh, God, that's terrible. On Sleep from 1976. I'd rather be unconscious than miserable. Are you okay?
Holy cow, I forgot the bull.
On Tell All Books. People in the public eye are used to having all their dirty laundry exposed. But these writers should show some consideration for the children. Now, I want to say he might have said this because one of his closest, like, friends, like people who were involved in his posse called the Memphis Mafia, wrote a tell-all book that it was literally called Elvis, What Happened? Which, if somebody I knew wrote a book about me and said, what happened? I'd be like, what do you mean what happened? What's that supposed to mean? So, I think that's a reference to this, and I would be mad too, and apparently, because I haven't looked at it and I haven't read it, but apparently that did cause a big rift between them. And this was already made when Lisa Marie was born, so he probably said that to deal with that. So, you know what, we'll give him that one.
One last request before I cross the great footlights up yonder.
Now, the last ones I want to leave on are some different quotes about women, which, of course, I must preface that this man was born in like the 1930s, I believe. So Elvis was born in 1935, and so around 1955, he was in his 20s. So we have to remember that he came of age during that time, and grew up in that time. So we're gonna see if his opinions on women changed over the years, especially because in the 1960s and the 1970s we hit a bit of a revolution, mainly with feminism as well as the sexual revolution. So let's see what he has to say. So this is him on women in 1960. Women should be at home to raise a family. It's the only way. No. On Women, 1963. I don't like any women who I think might be able to out-wrestle me. Now, I'm not sure if he's talking in a figurative sense or a literal sense. Now, me, I'm thinking literal. And if I can find me a big muscle mommy, oh, baby, oh. Who wants to apply?
And walk out because
So, instead of ending on them darn women, let's end with his thoughts on youth. Mainly because when this man died, he was 42 years old, which is not that old at all. Like in 1970, when he met President Nixon, which was a thing that happened, he was like 35, okay? He was already like doing his Vegas in his 30s, all right? Which is wild to me, okay? But anyway, we will end with that on youth. Being young is not a physical thing. It's a mental outlook and attitude. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. It's honestly because the older you get, the less you care about what people think. And you start to do what makes you feel most comfortable and what you enjoy. And you could kind of see that with him, mainly in how he conducted his shows in his Vegas residency from the few clips that I've saw. Because you think about like how much more restrained he seemed when he was younger. Either I'm thinking he didn't feel like he could do it, or he didn't like come into his own around that time. But honestly, as you get older, you start going, why am I limiting myself for you when it's my life and it's my art and I want to do what I want to do? Then that's your kind of outlook on it. While I do agree that youth is a state of mind a lot of the time, there are some physical limits, because I don't know how that man was able to bend down and like roll around on the stage like he did, but I can't even do that right now. Okay, my knees are shot. All right, they are done. I am 30 and my knees are gone. Okay, I can't. You know, I'm trying. I wanted Megan knees. I ain't never getting them bitches now. It's a pipe dream.
Wild as laugh. All right. Yeah, that's about how I feel.
But there was this useless video that I made just to show off how cute I look today. And I want to thank him for providing the content for this. Hopefully I'll get this video done sometime in the future, but like I said, y'all, I got a lot to deal with. I got a lot of research to do, and I'm wrapping up, or trying to wrap up, my other video that I wanted to do, which I wanted it to come out this month, but it's probably not going to, because once again, for some reason, everything I want to talk about is just very deep. And if you're wondering what that video is on, it's on the concept of gold diggers, their origin, and why that moniker is always ascribed to black women. So as you can imagine, I have a lot of stuff that I'm going through, and it's very depressing to read. That's why I don't know what he's talking about, but when I go to bed and I go to sleep, I'm like, thank God, because I don't have to keep reading this shit. But anyway, that's all for me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, that's okay. You won't hurt my feelings. You can go on ahead and give it a thumbs down. Did you find anything inspiring in this little quote list that I provided to you? Or are you interested in learning more about him? Or are you just interested in, you know, I don't know, any other musician? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, y'all, that's it for me. This is KylaTea signing out, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!